The mysterious distress signal. The Galactic Council's communication hub buzzed with life. Screens flashed, voices echoed, and holograms flickered as messages flowed from every corner of the galaxy. It was just another day of monitoring routine transmissions, trade requests, diplomatic chatter, and the occasional distress signal from lost ships. Commander Zara leaned back in her chair, her silver eyes scanning the holographic map before her. A faint, rhythmic pulse caught her attention. It was barely noticeable, hidden beneath layers of cosmic noise. But it was there, steady and persistent. "What's that?" Zara asked, her voice firm yet curious. Lieutenant Kren glanced over, his green-scaled face twisting into a puzzled look. "Just another distress signal, Commander. Probably some old satellite malfunctioning." But Zara wasn't convinced. The signal was different, ancient yet powerful, echoing through frequencies that hadn't been used in centuries. It came from a forgotten part of space, an uncharted planet marked only as Sector 9B on their maps. "Run a deep scan," Zara ordered. Her fingers danced over the control panel, amplifying the signal. It grew louder, its rhythm more pronounced. The room fell silent as the haunting sound filled the air. Kren's eyes widened. "That's not normal. How can something that old be so strong?" Zara's face hardened. "I don't know, but I intend to find out." She pressed a button, decoding the signal's language. Symbols flashed on the screen, ancient and unfamiliar. Yet, as the translator worked, words began to form. "Help us. They are coming. We are not alone." The air grew cold. A chill ran down Zara's spine. It was a distress call, a cry for help. But from who? And why now? Lieutenant Kren shrugged, trying to sound confident. "Probably just an old warning beacon. Whoever sent it is long gone." But Zara's instincts told her otherwise. She had seen countless distress calls, pirate attacks, ship malfunctions, planetary disasters. But this was different. This was desperate. She pulled up the planet's data. Sector 9B was marked as lifeless, a barren rock with no signs of civilization. Yet the signal was coming from there, strong and clear. Kren laughed, shaking his head. "You're not thinking of investigating, are you? It's a dead world, Commander. Probably just an echo from the past." Zora's eyes narrowed. "Echoes don't interfere with our systems." She pointed to the flickering screens, the static buzzing through their communication lines. "This isn't just noise. It's a message." Kren's confidence wavered. "But what could possibly be out there? No one has visited that sector in centuries." Zora's jaw tightened. "Exactly. Which means no one has responded to this call for centuries." Her voice grew soft, almost haunted. "Imagine how long they've been waiting, hoping someone would listen." Kren looked away, the weight of her words sinking in. "But who could survive out there? And why haven't we heard this before?" Zora glanced at the pulsing signal. "I don't know, but I intend to find out." She activated the ship's navigation system. "Prepare the crew. We're heading to Sector 9B." Kren's eyes widened. "You're serious?" Zora's gaze was cold and determined. "I want to know who sent this message, and why it's so powerful after all this time." She leaned closer to the screen, her voice a whisper. "Someone out there needed help, and we're going to find out who." As their ship's engines roared to life, the signal continued to echo, a rhythmic pulse that grew stronger the closer they got. It was as if the planet was calling out to them, waiting for someone to finally answer. Zara felt a chill run down her spine. She didn't know what awaited them on that forgotten world. But one thing was certain. The galaxy had missed this cry for help for centuries. And whatever they were about to discover was going to change everything. The starship Aegis cut through the darkness of space, its engines humming softly as it sped toward Sector 9B commanders. Zara stood on the bridge, her gaze fixed on the holographic map. The distress signal grew stronger with each passing moment, its haunting rhythm echoing through the ship's speakers. Lieutenant Kren adjusted the controls, his fingers moving quickly as he ran another scan. "Commander, the signal's power is increasing. It's as if it knows we're coming." Zora's eyes narrowed. "Keep the shields up. We don't know what we're dealing with yet." Behind them, the crew whispered in hushed tones. Tales of cursed planets and ghostly messages filled the air. They were explorers, trained to face the unknown, but even they could feel the eerie tension. Zora's voice cut through the murmurs. "Focus on your tasks. We're here to investigate, not to chase ghosts." Her words were firm, but even she couldn't ignore the chill running down her spine. As they approached Sector 9B, the planet came into view. It was a desolate, rocky world covered in shadows. Its surface was scared and lifeless, shrouded in swirling clouds of dust. Yet, at its heart, a faint light pulsed, steady and rhythmic, matching the signal's beat. Kren's voice shook. "It's coming from the center of the planet, deep underground." Zora leaned forward, her eyes locked on the glowing point. What could be down there? Kren gulped. No known civilization ever settled here. The records show nothing but rocks and dust. Then who sent the distress call? Zora's question hung in the air, heavy with mystery. She turned to the crew. "Prepare for landing. We're going down." The ship descended through the planet's atmosphere, shaking as turbulent winds slammed against its hull. Lightning crackled around them, illuminating the barren landscape below. Kren's hands were steady on the controls, but his voice trembled. "This place is a graveyard, nothing but ruins and shadows." Zora's gaze hardened. "Keep us steady." That signal didn't send itself. The Aegis landed on a rocky plateau, its engines hissing as they powered down. Dust swirled around them, scratching at the ship's exterior. Zora stood up, her posture tense. "Team Alpha, you're with me." Kren, maintain communication from the bridge. Kren nodded, his face pale. "Understood, Commander. Be careful out there." Zora's eyes softened. "Don't worry. We've faced worse." She gave him a reassuring nod before turning to the exit. The air outside was cold and heavy. Each breath felt thick with dust and decay. The ground beneath their boots was cracked and broken, evidence of ancient battles long forgotten. As they moved toward the glowing light, the signal grew louder, its pulse echoing in their ears. It was hypnotic, drawing them closer like a whisper they couldn't resist. One of the crew members shivered. "This place, it feels wrong. Like something's watching us." Zora's grip tightened on her weapon. "Stay alert. If anyone sees movement, report immediately." They descended into a canyon, its walls carved with strange symbols, worn and faded by time. The symbols seemed to tell a story, but their meaning was lost to history. Zora ran her fingers over the ancient carvings. "Who were they?" she whispered, her voice barely audible. "And what happened to them?" The glow intensified as they reached a cave entrance. It was massive, its mouth wide and dark, as if it were waiting to swallow them whole. The distress signal blared from within, its rhythm growing frantic, almost desperate. Zora took a deep breath. "This is it. Whatever sent that signal, it's inside." The crew hesitated, their fear evident. But Zora's courage was unwavering. "We came to find answers, and we won't leave until we get them." She stepped into the darkness, her flashlight cutting through the shadows. The air grew colder, the sound of her footsteps echoing off the stone walls. Suddenly, the signal changed. Its pulse quickened, echoing like a heartbeat, loud and chaotic. The cave walls trembled, dust raining down around them. One of the crew members screamed, "Commander, the walls, they're moving." Zora turned, her eyes widening as the ancient symbols glowed with blue light, shifting and twisting as if alive. The carvings began to change, forming new patterns, shapes that looked hauntingly familiar. A cold chill ran through Zora as the realization hit her. The symbols were words, in ancient Earth script. She took a step back, her heart pounding. This is impossible. How could they know our language? The symbols continued to twist, spelling out a message that sent shivers down her spine. Welcome, children of Earth. We have been waiting. The ground shook violently, the cave echoing with a deep, rumbling roar. The light at the end of the tunnel flared, blinding them with its intensity. Zara's voice wavered. Fall back. We're not alone. But before they could retreat, the cave entrance sealed shut, trapping them in the darkness. The heartbeat-like signal grew deafening, echoing through their minds. Panic spread through the team as shadows moved around them. Shapes that shouldn't exist, eyes glowing with ancient intelligence. Zara gripped her weapon, her voice steady despite the fear coursing through her. Hold your ground. Whatever's waiting for us, it wanted us to come here. She faced the glowing light, its pulsing rhythm now synchronized with her own heartbeat. It felt like the planet itself was alive, watching them, waiting for them to make the next move. Zara's jaw clenched. We came for answers, and we're not leaving without them. Unaware of what awaited them deeper within, they moved forward, stepping into the light. Whatever secrets this planet held were ancient, powerful, and connected to Earth in ways they never could have imagined. The light swallowed them whole, blinding and all-consuming. Zara shielded her eyes, feeling the air grow colder around her. The walls seemed to hum, vibrating with a strange energy that made her skin tingle. When the light finally faded, they found themselves in an enormous chamber, its ceiling lost in darkness. The floor was covered in symbols, glowing softly under their feet. Massive statues lined the walls, humanoid figures with sharp, angular faces and eyes that seemed to follow their every movement. Kren's voice crackled through the communicator. "Commander, are you all right? We lost visual. What's happening down there?" Zara looked around, her pulse racing. "We've found something. It's ancient, unlike anything I've ever seen." She approached one of the statues, its eyes shimmering with a ghostly blue light. It looked almost human, but its features were sharper, more alien. One of the crew members shivered. Those faces, they look familiar. But how? Zara ran her fingers over the statue's surface. It was cold, its texture like polished stone. She leaned in, examining the symbols etched across its chest. They were the same as those outside, twisting and changing before her eyes, forming words she could read. Her heart skipped a beat. These are Earth languages, ancient dialects from thousands of years ago. She stepped back, her voice shaking. But that's impossible. Humanity never came this far out. The ground trembled beneath them, a low rumble echoing through the chamber. The statue's eyes glowed brighter, their faces turning slowly to face Zara and her team. One of the crew members stumbled back. "Commander, they're moving." The statues stepped off their pedestals, their movements smooth and deliberate. Their heads tilted, eyes locked on the humans before them. Their mouths opened, and a deep, resonant voice filled the chamber. "Children of Earth, you have returned." Zora's blood ran cold. "Who? What are you?" The statues moved as one, their voices overlapping in perfect harmony. "We are the Guardians, protectors of the ancient knowledge. We were created by those who came before, by the first ones." Zara's mind raced. "First ones? You mean humans?" The Guardians' faces shifted, their eyes narrowing. "Your kind once ruled the stars. You were the architects of peace and destruction. When the Great War began, your ancestors hid their secrets here, in this forgotten world." Zara took a step back, her breath catching in her throat. "But Earth's history doesn't mention any of this. We were told humanity was confined to one planet, that we were primitive." The Guardians' voices deepened, echoing off the chamber walls. "Lies. Your leaders buried the truth, fearing the power of the ancient knowledge. They chose ignorance, but knowledge cannot be forgotten." The ground shook again, the symbols on the floor glowing brighter. The air grew heavy, buzzing with energy. The Guardians' eyes turned red, their faces hardening. "You were warned not to return, yet you are here, seeking what was never meant to be found." Zora's instincts screamed danger. She raised her weapon, her voice firm. We came to help. We answered a distress call. The guardians fell silent, their eyes flickering. A call for help from the lost one, the last remnant of the first one's legacy. It has been waiting, calling out across time and space. Zara's heart pounded. The signal. It's alive. The guardians nodded as one. Yes, it is the key. It holds the memories of those who came before. But it is trapped, locked away by ancient seals. Only the children of Earth can set it free. The symbols on the floor shifted, forming a path leading deeper into the chamber. The air grew colder, the light dimming. Zara looked at her team, their faces pale with fear. We came for answers. And we're getting them. Whatever this key is, it's connected to our past, to Earth's true history. The guardians stepped aside, their eyes watching closely. Proceed, children of Earth. But be warned, the path ahead is treacherous. The darkness does not forgive. And the key is guarded by shadows that remember. Zara gripped her weapon tighter. We've come this far. We're not turning back now. She took the first step, her team following close behind. The chamber grew colder, the light fading as they moved deeper. The walls seemed to close in around them, the air heavy with the weight of centuries. The guardians' voices echoed behind them, haunting and distant. Seek the key and face the truth. But beware, for the truth is a weapon more powerful than any blade. Zara's jaw clenched. Whatever lay ahead, she was ready to face it. The galaxy had kept its secrets for too long, and she was determined to uncover them all. The path led them deeper into the ancient chamber, the air growing colder with every step. Zara's breath fogged before her heartbeat echoing in her ears. The symbols on the floor pulsed softly, lighting the way forward. The walls seemed to whisper, faint voices brushing against their minds. Words in ancient tongues, carried by the cold wind. Zara shivered, feeling a chill that went deeper than her skin. "Commander, do you hear that?" one of the crew members asked, his voice shaking. Zara nodded, her eyes scanning the darkness. "Stay alert. We don't know what else is down here." The corridor widened into a vast hall, its ceiling lost in shadow. Pillars rose around them, carved with faces that watched in silence. The air grew heavy, pressing down on their shoulders. Then, the temperature dropped sharply. Frost formed on the floor, crackling under their boots. The light from the symbols flickered, shadows crawling along the walls. A figure emerged from the darkness, its body twisted and distorted. Its face was hollow, eyes glowing with a cold blue light. It moved without sound, gliding across the floor like mist. Zara aimed her weapon, her hand steady. "Identify yourself." The figure's head tilted, its mouth opening without a sound. More shadows emerged, their forms shifting, faces flickering between agony and rage. They'd moved closer, surrounding the team. "They're not alive," whispered one of the crew members, his face pale. "They're memories." Zara's eyes widened. Memories. Of what? The first shadow's eyes burned brighter. When it spoke, its voice echoed with countless others, layered and distorted. "We are the fallen, the warriors who defended the key, and failed." The room grew colder, the shadows tightening their circle. Zara felt the weight of sorrow in their words, a pain that cut deep. "You fought to protect the key." From who? The shadows twisted, faces contorting with rage. The betrayers. Those who sought power without wisdom. They came, hungry for the knowledge, and they destroyed us. Images flashed through Zara's mind. Battles fought in the stars, ships exploding, cities burning. The shadows relived their final moments, the pain of defeat etched into their souls. One shadow stepped closer, its face torn between anger and despair. "We could not protect it, and our failure cursed us to remain. We are bound to this place, prisoners of our own memories." Zara's heart ached at the sight. "You're trapped here because you couldn't save the key." The shadows' faces shifted, their eyes flickering. Yes, until the key is freed, we cannot rest. We remember because we must. We guard because we failed. The light dimmed, the temperature dropping again. The shadows grew darker, their forms rippling with anger. You are like them, like the betrayers. You seek the key for power. Zara shook her head, stepping forward. No, we answered its call. We didn't come for power. We came to help. The shadows paused, their faces uncertain. The first shadow's eyes narrowed. Help or conquer? Zara's voice was firm. Help. We're here to uncover the truth, to learn who we are, and why this signal called out to us. The shadows shifted, whispering among themselves. Their faces grew calmer, the rage fading. The first shadow looked at Zara, its eyes softening. Truth, that is a worthy purpose, but the path to truth is perilous. The floor trembled beneath them, the symbols flashing brightly. The shadows backed away, their voices echoing. You must face the guardian of memories. Only by confronting the past can you free the key and release us from this curse. The pillars trembled, the walls groaning under an ancient weight. The shadows began to dissolve, their faces breaking apart like mist. The first shadow looked at Zara one last time, its eyes full of sorrow. Remember us, and learn from our failure. Do not let history repeat itself. Then, the shadows vanished, leaving behind a cold silence. The room brightened, the symbols guiding the way forward. Zara's shoulders felt heavy, her heart weighed down by their pain. Let's keep moving, she said, her voice quiet. We owe it to them to finish what they started. The team followed, their faces solemn. The chamber seemed to breathe around them, the ancient walls watching closely. But as they moved deeper, Zara felt a presence lingering, just beyond sight. The shadows were gone, but their memories remained. And they were watching. The chamber led them to a vast door, its surface covered in symbols that pulsed with a cold blue light. The air was heavy, dense with an ancient power that made each breath feel like ice. Zara stood before the door, her heart pounding. She could feel the presence behind it, a powerful force waiting, watching. The guardian is in there, she said, her voice steady despite the chill creeping up her spine. Be ready for anything. Her team nodded, their weapons drawn, faces tense. But Zara knew that bullets and lasers might not be enough. This was no ordinary enemy. The symbols on the door glowed brighter, reacting to their presence. A deep rumble shook the ground, and the door began to open, stone grinding against stone. Beyond the door was a vast hall, its ceiling lost in darkness. In the center stood a figure, tall and imposing, made of shifting shadows and light. Its eyes were cold, blue orbs that pierced through the darkness. It was humanoid in shape but moved like smoke, its body constantly changing, faces appearing and vanishing within its form. The faces were twisted in pain, mouths open in silent screams. Zara stepped forward, her voice strong. Are you the guardian? The figure's eyes flared, its voice echoing through the chamber, layered with countless voices. I am the guardian of memories. I carry the sorrow of the fallen, the pain of defeat, and the rage of betrayal. The air grew colder, frost forming on the floor. The faces within the guardian's body wept, their tears turning to ice as they fell. You seek the key, the guardian continued, its eyes narrowing. But the key is not for the unworthy. Only those who understand the weight of history, the burden of failure, may claim it. Zara's jaw tightened. We came to find the truth. We came because the key called to us. The guardian's form rippled, the faces shifting into expressions of anger. Truth. The truth is pain. The truth is loss. Can you bear it? The chamber shook, the walls groaning as the guardian raised its arms. Shadows flowed from its body, swirling like a storm, faces screaming as they surrounded Zara and her team. One of the shadows lunged, its face contorted in rage. It passed through Zora, cold searing her chest. Memories flooded her mind. Battles long past, soldiers dying, worlds burning. She gasped, falling to one knee as the pain overwhelmed her. She could feel their sorrow, their helplessness. The fallen had given everything, and lost. The guardian's voice echoed, merciless. Can you feel their pain? Their failure binds them here, as it will bind you. More shadows attacked, each one carrying memories of defeat, of betrayal. The crew cried out, struggling against the cold despair. Their weapons were useless against the phantoms of the past. Zora's vision blurred, tears freezing on her face. But she gritted her teeth, forcing herself to stand. I won't let it end like this. She reached out, touching one of the shadows. It screamed, its face twisting as it tried to break free. But Zora held on, her voice gentle. You don't have to suffer anymore. Let me help you. The shadow hesitated, its face softening. Memories flowed through Zora's mind. Images of loved ones left behind. Dreams shattered by war. Her heart ached, understanding their pain. You fought to protect the key, she whispered. You gave everything. Because you believed in something greater. That matters. The shadow's anger faded, its form softening. It looked at Zora with tired eyes, then dissolved into light, the pain lifting. The guardian roared, its body flickering as the faces wept. No, they are mine. Their pain belongs to me. Zora faced the guardian, her eyes fierce. Their pain was never yours to keep. It's time to let them go. She stepped forward, her heart full of compassion. You are their guardian. Protect their memory, but don't imprison them. Let them rest. The guardian's form trembled, shadows breaking apart. The faces within it began to smile, tears of relief replacing the sorrow. The cold faded, warmth spreading through the chamber. The guardian's eyes softened, the blue light dimming. You understand. You feel their pain, but you also bring hope. The shadows dissolved, the faces disappearing peacefully. The guardian's body became light, its form growing transparent. You are worthy, it whispered, its voice gentle. The key awaits you, beyond this door. The chamber brightened, the path ahead revealed. The guardian's light faded, leaving behind a single shimmering tear on the floor, a memory of sorrow, released at last. Zora bowed her head, her heart heavy but hopeful. Thank you. I promise to honor your memory. She turned to her team, their faces reflecting the same determination. Let's move. The key is waiting. They stepped forward, the ancient walls watching. But this time, the shadows were gone. The guardian's duty was finally complete. The team stepped through the doorway, entering a vast chamber that seemed to stretch endlessly. The walls were lined with ancient symbols, glowing softly with golden light. In the center of the room floated the key, a crystalline object, spinning slowly, its surface reflecting countless colors. Zora's breath caught in her throat. It was beautiful, radiating a power that felt both ancient and alive. She could feel it calling to her, its energy pulsing in rhythm with her heartbeat. That's it, whispered Micah, his eyes wide with awe. The key, it's more magnificent than we imagined. But Zora felt something more, a sadness within the key, a lingering sorrow. It was as if the key itself was mourning, its beauty shadowed by a deep pain. She approached slowly, her footsteps echoing in the silent chamber. This is what they protected, she murmured. But why? What's its purpose? As she reached out, her fingers just inches away from the crystalline surface, a voice echoed through the chamber, ancient and weary. You seek the key's power, but can you bear the truth it holds? The room darkened, the golden light dimming as the air grew heavy. Shadows formed around the key, taking shape into a figure, tall and regal, draped in robes that flowed like mist. Its face was hidden, but its eyes shone with wisdom and sorrow. I am the keeper of truth, the figure said, its voice echoing. I guard the knowledge of the key and the burden it carries. Zara stood firm, her gaze unwavering. We came to understand, to learn the truth. Whatever it is, we're ready. The keeper's eyes narrowed, shadows swirling around it. Many have sought the key, hoping to control its power. But power is not its purpose. The key was forged from sacrifice, from the loss of an entire civilization. The chamber shuddered, the walls vibrating with sorrow. Images appeared around them, ghostly visions of a world filled with light, its people joyful and free. But then, darkness fell. A great war erupted, skies burning as the planet was consumed by conflict. They were the first ones, the keeper explained, its voice heavy with grief. The most advanced beings to ever exist. But their knowledge led to arrogance, and their arrogance led to ruin. Zara watched in horror as the vision showed the first one's world crumbling, their cities falling into dust. Their own creations turned against them, weapons of unimaginable power wiping out their civilization. Their greatest weapon became their curse, the keeper continued. In their final moments, they poured their souls into the key, hoping to protect their knowledge from being misused again. The visions faded, leaving only the key's soft glow. Zara felt a chill run down her spine. It's a warning. They created the key to prevent others from repeating their mistakes. The keeper nodded. Yes, the key holds the memories of their fall and the power to reshape worlds. But that power comes with a price. To wield it, one must carry the burden of their sorrow, their regret. Zara looked at the key, its light flickering like a dying star. She understood now. It wasn't just a weapon or a tool. It was a legacy, a reminder of the cost of hubris. Micah's voice trembled. If the wrong hands got hold of this, they could repeat history. Another civilization could fall. Zara clenched her fists, determination burning in her eyes. We can't let that happen. We have to protect it, or destroy it, if necessary. The keeper's form began to fade, its voice softening. You understand the responsibility, the burden of knowledge. That is why the key called to you. It looked at Zara, its gaze piercing. Will you carry their memory? Will you bear their sorrow? And ensure their mistakes are never repeated? Zara felt the weight of the question, the enormity of the task, but she knew her answer. I will. I'll protect the key and honor their legacy. The keeper's eyes softened, its form dissolving into light. Then you are worthy. The key is yours. But remember, it is not a weapon. It is a lesson. Learn from it and guard it well. The chamber brightened, the golden light returning as the keeper vanished. The key floated gently into Zara's hands, its surface warm and pulsing with life. She felt the sorrow within it, the echoes of the first one's fall. But she also felt hope, a hope that their sacrifice would not be in vain. Turning to her team, she lifted the key, its light shining brightly. We have the key, but our journey isn't over. We have to protect this and make sure its power is never misused. Micah grinned, his eyes fierce. Whatever it takes, we're with you. They stood together, the key's light surrounding them. But as they prepared to leave, the chamber trembled, shadows creeping along the walls. A cold voice echoed, chilling their hearts. You may have passed the test, but others are coming, and they will stop at nothing to claim the key's power. The light dimmed, the chamber growing cold. The shadows twisted, forming monstrous shapes with glowing red eyes. Zara's grip tightened on the key, her jaw clenched. We fight, to the end. The shadows lunged, roaring with fury, but Zara and her team stood firm, their resolve unbreakable. The battle was just beginning. The chamber shook violently as the shadows lunged, their forms twisting into monstrous shapes with razor-sharp claws and glowing red eyes. Their roars echoed, filled with malice and hunger. Zara tightened her grip on the key, its light pulsing in her hands. She could feel its power reacting to the darkness, vibrating with anticipation. They're the guardians, the echoes of those who fell to greed and power, she realized, her voice steady despite the chaos around them. Micah drew his blaster, his stance firm. They want the key. They want its power. But they'll have to go through us first. Lena's fingers danced over her control pad, activating her energy shields. I've got your back, Zora. Let's end this. The shadows attacked, moving faster than any creature Zora had ever seen. They struck with terrifying force, their claws ripping through the air. But Zora was ready. She held the key high, its light exploding outward, forming a protective barrier around her team. The shadows hissed, recoiling from the light, but they did not retreat. Instead, they circled, their eyes glowing with rage. They were relentless, driven by the darkness that had destroyed the first ones. Zara knew they couldn't hold out forever. The key's light was powerful, but it was fading, its energy draining with each attack. She had to end this, before the darkness consumed them all. A memory surfaced, the keeper's words echoing in her mind. The key is not a weapon. It is a lesson, a reminder of their fall. Realization hit her like a lightning bolt. The key wasn't meant to destroy the darkness. It was meant to heal it, to end the cycle of pain and regret. Micah, Lena, protect me. I know what to do, Zara shouted, her eyes blazing with determination. Micah fired his blaster, beams of energy slicing through the shadows. Got it. Do what you need to do, Zara. We'll hold them off. Lena's energy shields flared, blocking the shadows' attacks. Just don't take too long. Zora closed her eyes, focusing on the key's warmth. She reached out with her mind, connecting with its ancient power. She could feel the sorrow within it, the memories of the first ones, their pain and regret. I understand now, she whispered, her voice gentle. You were hurt, consumed by your own creations, but you don't have to suffer anymore. It's time to let go, to find peace. The key pulsed, its light turning soft and golden. The shadows shrieked, their forms flickering. But Zara didn't waver. She poured her heart into the key, sending a wave of compassion and forgiveness. I won't fight you, she said, her voice echoing through the chamber. I'll heal you. The light expanded, washing over the shadows. They writhed, their monstrous shapes twisting. Then, slowly, they began to change. The darkness peeled away, revealing the faces of the first ones, haunted and sorrowful. Their eyes filled with pain. Zara's heart ached as she saw them, their spirits trapped by their own regrets. She stepped forward, her hand outstretched. Your story doesn't have to end in darkness. You can be free, if you forgive yourselves. Tears glistened in the spirits' eyes as they looked at her, their faces softening. One by one, they nodded, their forms shimmering. The darkness around them shattered, replaced by light. A soft breeze filled the chamber as the spirits dissolved, their sorrow fading. Their voices echoed, filled with gratitude and peace. Thank you for releasing us, for remembering our story. The light swirled around Zora, warm and comforting. Then it flowed into the key, its glow brightening with renewed life. The chamber grew still, the air clear and pure. Zora opened her eyes, her heart full. The darkness was gone. The cycle was broken. She had done it. Micah lowered his blaster, his shoulders relaxing. It's over. Lena dropped her shields, her eyes wide with awe. You saved them, Zora. You saved their souls. Zora looked at the key, its light gentle and serene. They were never monsters, just lost souls, waiting for someone to set them free. Micah grinned, his eyes shining with pride. You did more than that. You ended their pain and made sure their legacy would live on. Zara smiled, feeling the weight of the key's purpose settle in her heart. We carry their memory now, and their lesson. We won't let their story be forgotten. As they prepared to leave the chamber, the walls glowed with ancient symbols, their light forming words in the first one's language. Lena's eyes widened. It's a message, a blessing. May those who learn from our fall rise stronger than before. Zara felt a tear slip down her cheek, her heart full of hope. We'll make sure their sacrifice means something. They stepped out of the chamber, the key's light guiding their way. The journey had been long and painful, but they had found the truth and healed the past. But as they walked away, Zara's grip tightened on the key. She knew others would come for its power, and she would be ready to protect it. The galaxy would learn the truth, and they would learn to respect humanity's strength. For Zara and her team, this was just the beginning. And with the key in their hands, they would face whatever challenges awaited them, together. The story of the first ones would not be repeated, not as long as Zara lived. And the galaxy would never forget the day humanity changed everything.